In this video, we're going to be going over rent-to-own options here in Pheonix, Arizona. If you want to find out more, make sure you stay tuned. What's up, everybody? It's Jim Day!
It's Bubba!
Welcome to Rent-to-Own Home Programs Explained. We are your #1 trusted rent-to-own resource, and we have absolutely nothing to sell you.
We make these videos because there's a lot of chronic renters out there, and we don't want you to be one.
A chronic renter is someone that is stuck renting for the rest of their lives because they don't watch our videos.
And they're stuck where they are because they don't have the answers to the questions that they have, like, what kind of credit score do I need? How much money do I need to make a month or a year? Is it legit or is it a scam?
We have a whole arsenal of rent-to-own programs at our disposal. If you want to find out what legitimate program is right for you, make sure you go ahead and click the link down below and take our quick 30-second survey to find out which program is right for you. So with rent-to-owns, there's a lot of different reasons why people might want to rent-to-own.
Relocation is one reason why people might do a lease-to-own. Maybe they're moving in from a different state or a different city, and they don't really know the town or city they're moving to really well, and they don't want to commit to something, but they also don't want to lose out on an opportunity since the market's going up right now, and so maybe they want to secure a place. The good thing about that is that they can secure the place and do the lease-to-own option, and as long as they stay within, well, at least one of the programs, you stay 1 year, and if you don't like it, you can leave. You won't have any penalties or anything like that, but you're able to secure property, check out the area, make sure it's the place that you want to be, and if it's not, you don't have to be committed to that, and you can move on to the next place. And the cool thing is these programs, they would allow you to go from one house to another. They'll buy that house, and then if you don't like it, they will actually, after a year, they'll buy you another one. You can move into that. If you don't like that, you can keep doing it.
It's a nice way to essentially try out different areas of the actual area that you want to live before you actually buy it, settle down, make things a little more permanent. That's nice, as well as if you're relocating, right? Say for instance, right, you're going from California to Arizona, or you're going from, let's say, New York, New Jersey to Arizona, right? The nice thing is you have the freedom and the flexibility to actually lock down an actual property where you can live, stay, and it's more of a long-term solution, but not necessarily as long-term as getting a 30-year mortgage. It's nice as you can lock down that property, depending on the program. Some programs you can lock down the property for 3 years. Other programs you can actually lock down the property for 5 years. It does depend on a multitude of different reasons that we'll touch on later in the video. But one of the biggest reasons why people choose to rent-to-own is credit. If your credit isn't quite where it needs to be, you're not going to get a mortgage. You can't. They're not going to give you a good mortgage, to say the least, or you might just not have something, or you just can't get the mortgage for the home that you really want to actually get. So what's nice is with one of the programs that we have at our disposal, they will actually take 25% of your monthly rent, and they'll start putting that towards the down payment of the home. By the time you're done with the leasing of the home, after a certain period of time, you can actually go ahead and purchase the home with the down payment that you've already paid for with your rent alongside the past couple years. So it's a great way because it's literally built into the actual structure of the system, and it gets you to your end goal, which is getting the home that you want and that you want to actually raise your family in. You want to just, essentially you want to plant your roots down on. You can actually get that property yourself, and then you can actually go ahead and put that in your name and own it outright.
Well, and also it's not necessarily just bad credit, but maybe some people just have, a debt to income ratio that doesn't match with the loan yet. So they maybe get in there, pay down some debt so that they can open that up and then qualify for a loan. Or maybe it is just saving up, or if it's maybe it is a credit issue, their whole goal is to get you that house, so they actually help you with that credit, fixing the credit repair. They have programs to get you in, all that kind of stuff that can help you do that. So their intention is to definitely sell you that home. So it's not always just bad credit. It can just be debt to income ratio.
And another great thing as well, tying in with that, is self-employed people. It's very, very hard to
get a loan.
Yeah, to get a loan of any kind when you're self-employed. And this is one of those ways around that can help secure your property without necessarily jumping through as many hoops as you would traditionally. Okay, so essentially there are two different structures of programs that we work with. One, the first one that we're going to talk about is more of a buyer assistance program, in which the program itself has it built in to where you'll have the down payment by the end. So how this structure looks is you actually rent the property out for 3 years. Now you can exercise that that option to purchase at any time within that period of those 3 years, but you have up until the 3 years. Now what's nice is built into that same system is they take 25% of your monthly rent and they'll put that towards the down payment of your home. If you end up leasing the property for those full 3 years, you'll have your down payment already covered.
Yeah.
The other program that we work with is essentially, it's more geared toward a try before you buy aspect, as Bubba touched on earlier. And what that is essentially is you actually lease the property out year to year. And you can lease the property out in Arizona for up to 5 years in that same property. But what's nice as well is by the end of those lease terms, if you don't like the place, you can bounce.
No penalty. And with this one, you only have to be in the lease for a year before you can leave, and without any penalties. So once you've completed 1 year lease, you can get out of the contract. You can exercise the contract if you want to. And another good thing about it is you're going to know before you get into that lease agreement, the lease option agreement, you're going to know what your monthly rent is for year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it won't be a surprise. The rent's going to raise, obviously, because they got to keep up with inflation, all that kind of stuff, and the price of the property is going to raise. But you'll know what the price will be that year. It won't be a surprise. It won't be like, oh, the market went up 100,000 and you have to pay that extra 100,000 gap. It'll be no, whatever we agreed upon when we signed that lease, that's what I'm going to pay, regardless if the house goes from $500,000 to $1 million in that 5 years. You're not going to have to pay that $1 million. You just pay the $500,000.
So if you're wary about getting into the market, you're scared about the bubble popping, it's a great way to kind of dip your toes into the market and secure a property without necessarily having as much of the risk, per se, as if you were to own that property outright with a mortgage. Theoretically speaking, if the property ends up appraising for a lot higher, the value just keeps going up, you can exercise that purchase price at that lower rate for when you first got signed on. So it's really nice.
And then you just get instant equity in that property. All of a sudden you just built like instant equity. Like if you're purchasing in the year 2 and it's like 300,000 and the house is actually worth 350, you just made 50 grand in equity right there.
Not too bad.
And then you can even change your loan. It's an 80-20 loan, a conventional loan, and you don't have to pay PMI. So many good things about these programs.
So with those two structures in mind, if you want to find out which program and which structure is right for you, go ahead and make sure you click the link down below. Take our quick 30-second survey to find out which program is right for you. But tying in with that last program that we were talking about is the try before you buy aspect of rent-to-owns. Now it's something that it's a hard concept to really grasp because it's so simple. And really just having that freedom, that flexibility to go from house to house is no small task, and especially given the fact that it is a seller's market right now and inventory is very limited, and with markets like this, apartments are usually very, very full. Rental options are very non-existent and almost close to none. So what this does is essentially it taps into the rental market and creates a whole plethora of options for you that other sellers and such are looking at, but they can't necessarily get into. Other renters and such, they can't really get into the program, or other renters and such, they don't even know because it's such an unannounced program. It's not exactly the most commercialized. It's a very unheard option when it comes to the traditional buying and selling of a home. Mm-hmm. And so it's very unique. It's kind of going in the third direction, and it's a great way to get into a home.
Yeah, and especially if you're watching, you're a renter out there and you're having a hard time finding a place because places are getting packed and rental rates are going up like crazy. This is one of those times in history where rental rates or rental payments are higher than mortgage payments because the interest rates are so low right now. Like renting a place is way more expensive than actually buying a spot. But these institutional companies are going to buy that property, so it's going to lock it in, and so you don't know, like you are going to have rental rates, but raises, but you know what they're going to be. Like otherwise, they're just going for whatever market value is, and I mean market value is climbing like crazy right now as far as rental goes.
And at the end of the day, if you don't quite meet the criteria for an actual mortgage, it is nice because if you're going to be renting, anyway, might as well start shelling 25% of that rent that you're already going to pay anyway to your apartment complex, landlord, whatever, dumping it into your personal asset, which is your future home. You don't have to pack up all your stuff again and move to another place. You don't have to make that awkward move from traditional apartment to the home you actually want to be at. You can just start there, and it makes it a lot more simple. What's nice about the try before you buy aspect of rent-to-own homes is the fact that you can experience your daily commute. It's something that's very overseen when people make, cross-country moves and they pick a random location that they end up moving in, and the only research that you've really done is just on the computer. You haven't necessarily experienced as much of it yet. Yes, you may have seen the place, looked around, driven around, but you haven't experienced what it's like to go to work and drive that commute every single day at different periods of the day. You don't know what it's like to have to drive to the gym, where to get your groceries. You don't exactly know what those commutes look like and how the traffic looks. And so it's great because you can literally test drive that entire lifestyle instead of a diluted version of it.
No, and if you don't like it within a year, you're
good to go. And that leads us into our criteria for these programs. What do you need to be to actually qualify for a program like this? Well, one of the biggest things is credit. You do need a minimum of a 550 credit score. Bar is not very high. No. You can do it.
The next thing you need is a minimum annual income of $30,000. Now that can include everybody that's in the house that is working or 18 years of age or something like that. But you can use everybody in the house that actually has a job. They will have to be on the lease, but you can use that income as the qualifying income. So it doesn't just, if you're just like, single mom, single dad or whatever, and you have like kids in the family that work and they're 18, you can put them on the lease and you can use their income as qualifying income.
And then lastly, we need at least a minimum of 45 days from application to movement. This is not going to be an overnight process. And you have to also remember, there is actually getting qualified, there's getting you in the process and going, but there's also the home search process. Finding the home for you to actually try before you buy. And if you want to find out which program is right for you, make sure you go ahead and click the link down below. Take our quick 30-second survey to find out what program is right for you. Is rent-to-own even an option for you? I don't know. Click the survey. We don't know until you find out.
Now, a lot of people are always wondering, are these rent-to-own and lease options, are they a scam or are they legit? We made a quick little video about that you might want to go check out next.
Thanks for watching.